Spawning in the top left position as our blue Protoss player is going to be from NRS, and it is going to be Welmu. And spawning in the bottom left position as our red Protoss player. He's 4-0'd so far. NRS. It is from Fnatic.SaSe. So I just want to point out something that's really, really interesting. If you guys notice, if you look very closely, SaSe's worker rally, he's actually rallied right in front of the mineral patch and then re-rallies it forward towards the actual mineral patch. This allows the probes to avoid the acceleration, deceleration delay, typically used for getting to the longer patches, of course, resetting. But interesting to use that so early on. Now, man, I almost thought I turned off my epic music, and then I just realized the in-game music just became that much more awesome. Always need to appreciate the awesome things that have been added in Heart of the Swarm, including the non-gameplay related things. So, probes coming out for both players, starting that gateways up. Whirlwind is quite a large map, but even the largeness of a map doesn't stop Warp Gate, of course, from being able to span very long distances. Now, this is going to make things interesting. Gas being taken by SaSe. Welmu might go for that double gas at 15 again. Take it maybe a couple seconds later. Not crazy significant, but there he is going to get that second gas now. So Welmu preferring to go for the 15-15 gas. And SaSe just kind of generally favoring opening with the gas after the gateway. And then once the cybernetics core is on the way, then also getting the second gas. So as we saw in game number 2, I believe it was, it wasn't really significant in terms of playing a role in how the game panned out. So, not surprised to see how things are going right now. Cybernetics core is on the way, second gas, and there you saw SaSe just doing what he does. Now, on a map this large, certain strategies are going to be a little bit better than others. For PvP in particular, Stargate openings, not bad at all on the maps where you have these units that move super fast. The Phoenix, of course, can scale very large distances in a short amount of time, as well as the Oracle. So, really opens up a lot of options for the earlier aggression and not being as vulnerable. The stalker pressure that we saw Welmu go for in game number 2. Akalon wastes a much smaller map than this. The rush distance short enough for SaSe to be able to get away, even though even with the sentries, and he even still held the stalker pressure. So I don't think we're going to see anything like that from Welmu. Both players choosing to open with Sentry, which is a fairly interesting decision. So both likely going to go for some form of tech, and it feels like it's going to be that Stargate play just because of the setup of the map. But we're going to see a Twilight Council from SaSe. They could be going for Blink play as well. Not as strong on this map. There's not too many cliff areas to work with. There's quite a long distance here. Stalkers can barely blink across into main base, so it could be another Dark Templar play, but we will see that Stargate come out for Welmu. And, well, he favored this in game number 2. Of course, the Oracle does a great job of harassing as well as defending, we saw with the Envisioned ability, but he could get caught off guard again if SaSe goes for fast tech, simply because he has the sentry here to deny scouting. So it'll be interesting if he opens with anything like a Phoenix to scout, but there's that Dark Shrine coming up for SaSe once again. So SaSe's going to come in now with his probe to scout out Welmu's base. There's a sentry and 2 zealots here, though, so he's going to get shut down pretty hard. Not going to be able to do too much. And Welmu's probe is about to come into SaSe's base, and SaSe has the stalker here with the sentry, so there's no way this probe is getting by. Phoenix is being made to scout, hopefully, for Welmu. He needs to spot this coming. The thing is, if going Phoenix versus Oracle opening, the Phoenix can't actually help deal with the Dark Templar. So this is going to be super, super difficult for Welmu to deal with. The probe is in position in the top center of the map to throw in a proxy pylon and move into that Dark Templar play. So the Phoenix is now going to go out and scout. He's only going to have 30 seconds to prepare for this, though. It takes 50 seconds to build an Oracle. He is in a ton of trouble. Natural expansion is on the way for SaSe. Always smart to expand behind the DT play. Now the Phoenix is going to come in. It's going to show up right as the Dark Shrine is finishing. It comes in, he sees this. Is he going to react in time is the question. Immediately an Oracle in production for Welmu. He's going to chrono boost that. He needs to get it out as quickly as possible. Now, keep in mind, he can use this force field on the sentry, even though the Dark Templar is invisible, to just force it out. You can use the force field to keep it away, prevent it from actually entering the base. And now we have the robotics facility coming in, so it doesn't want to rely solely on Envision to defend. And now the Dark Templar is coming in. in, needs to force field that out, does get a good block off. SaSe's Phoenix Scout is there, deflected quite handily though, and he still has another 2 force fields that he'll have available to hold this Dark Templar out. So SaSe could try to go for a bit of an Archon play and just try to shut this down, but no such thing will happen. And the Mothership Core is also out for Welmu, so if he wanted to get a bit aggressive, he could try, but I feel like he's just going to wait for an Observer, possibly try to poke with these Phoenix, but the expansion completing for SaSe, he's in a really, really good position as long as Welmu doesn't do too much more damage to him. And the thing is, with Welmu's build choice, he's now going to expand, so he's just going to end up being really far behind economically in terms of SaSe's play, especially since SaSe already has that tech to go for charge. But the robotics facility being pretty late for both players, Welmu will be able to move into that the Colossus tech a lot earlier because of that robotics facility that he was forced to build. But without the additional economy, SaSe could move into double robotics facility if he wanted. We could also just see him switching to full-out Stargate play, but now the Phoenix are going to try to run in, snap a couple of probes up. But Welmu not really able to get too much. He's killed 2 probes. SaSe's killed 1 probe. It's a pretty even game. But now the Oracle is going to come in towards the natural expansion. There is a Stalker here. He's going to activate that Pulsar Beam. He's managed to kill 1 probe so far. He needs to just focus these down, do as much damage as he can to punish him for getting this fast early base. But he only gets 4 probes before he has to duck out, so not terrible. He still has a lot of energy available on the Oracle for additional harass later. And here we have the Immortals coming out for Welmu. He could try to go for a push. His Nexus is completing in the natural. He's going to immediately take that gas. No robotics bay just yet, so be very curious to see how he plans to follow this up. SaSe bringing his probe forward, wants to make sure that if Welmu moves out, he's going to be able to spot it. Now there is this pylon in the top area, but SaSe should be able to see this aggression coming in. He's going to see, okay, well, pylon's gone. It's a bit of a given, and SaSe's going to get a Forge, which is interesting. We didn't really have any upgrades at all in game number 2, so this could have a very interesting dynamic. Third Immortal is coming out, so Welmu's really building up quite a powerful force. But the fact that he's taken the gases at his natural means he's not going to go for a really heavy gateway aggression because he's not going to have the resources since he's going to have so much gas. Especially since the robo facility units are so much more tech heavy, but these units do manage to take out that Oracle. Actually hallucinates a Void Ray. He may be trying to scare Welmu into thinking that he's going for a big Stargate play, which is actually really effective against the robotics facility play. Of course, the Immortals can't shoot up, but the Void Ray is with that prismatic alignment ability. Of course, the hallucinated one can't use it, but it does give them a lot of extra damage versus armored units. Now the Phoenix trying to duck into that main base to pick off a couple of probes, manages to get at least 1 or 2, and then a hallucinated Phoenix to accompany the real ones. And now this fake Void Ray rolls up, and it kind of makes me wonder if Welmu's going to react to this. Of course, if the Observer gets close enough to it, he'll be able to see that it's a hallucination, but is he going to? The real Void Ray spots the fake one. And now he's just going to move in, so should be able to spot this Void Ray doesn't actually do any damage, realizing, okay, that's a hallucination. But with his own Void Ray, he's in a pretty good position. He's actually going to get on a second Stargate, which is really interesting to see, largely because he's going to move into a really heavy Void Ray play. With a robotics facility finishing up for SaSe, if he goes for more of that Wings of Liberty-esque style of Stalker, Charge Lot, Colossi, Archons to tank damage and just a ton of Colossi, that could really, really end up favoring Welmu's play. The Stalker count, of course, with the Immortals and Void Rays with the prismatic alignment should be able to obliterate any number of Stalkers almost instantly. So the army composition for SaSe, though, it's really looking like a lot of Stalkers to deal with the Phoenix that he had earlier. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this dynamic pans out. Welmu actually has a significant supply advantage, so this, he could actually just go for a push. SaSe taking this third base is really, really greedy. He's a little bit supply blocked as well, but now Welmu, he's been expanding behind SaSe, but he's managed to keep himself up quite nicely. Archon's being brought in for SaSe. He has, of course, the Mothership Core with full energy. And charge is on the way for SaSe. Welmu, though, double pumping out the Void Rays. I feel like Void Rays actually take up a lot more supply than they used to. If you guys aren't aware, in Wings of Liberty, they were bumped up to 4 supply due to their additional strengths that they were given in that prismatic alignment ability. So it's going to be interesting to see how this dynamic pans out. Stalkers blink forward, pick off this Phoenix. But now this third base is about to complete. We have +1 air weapons coming in for Welmu. He's got a pretty strong core composition here. The Immortals should be able to pulverize any number of Stalkers, as well as the support of the Void Rays. So it's a very interesting, unorthodox, at least from a Wings of Liberty perspective, setup. And he's going to add on additional gateways. And it looks like he might just try to get aggressive. But no, he's just going to send his probe out to scout. Sonic Storm is on the way for SaSe. getting quite a few more charge lots up. He has the 1/1 upgrades, and if you look at the upgrades for Welmu, he actually doesn't have anything at all, just that +1 on the ship weapons. So he's going to need really, really good engagements and trades in order to take this game effectively. Of course, another hallucinated Phoenix going to run in. He knows basically everything. The real question, of course, is that did he spot that second Stargate? And he actually did not. So he may not anticipate such a heavy Stargate play coming. And the best response to it, of course, is going to be that Storm ability. The Archons really hit the stacking air units well, and the Void Rays don't deal bonus damage to them. But there are so many of these units on the field now. Really an interesting number. 6 Void Rays. So this is going to be pretty crazy. He's getting some cannons up to defend this third base. Welmu playing really, really passively for the kind of army that he has. So he's just kind of basically hoping that with the prismatic alignment ability on his Void Rays, he'll be able to chew through SaSe's forces very quickly now. SaSe does have a probe in position, does not see his proxy pylon. He's actually putting a pylon on the... This is interesting. Neither player can actually see each other's proxy pylons on the east side of the map. But immediately Welmu will spot it. Almost wonder if SaSe's pylon actually saw that probe get so close. So this is going to be interesting, guys. Both players just really turtling hard. Warp Prism coming in for SaSe, so it looks like he wants to try to do a little bit of aggressive harass, getting up these gateways as well. So this is a pretty interesting decision. He's getting on a lot of gateways, so he might just try to go for a big 3-base push. Zealot's going to run into that third, manages to grab a probe, and this cannon actually doesn't have enough range to reach this, so 2 Zealots will have to be warped in to help deal with this. But now the forces of SaSe are moving out towards the center of the map. He's even on supply with Welmu, so this fight could go disastrously bad if he takes it the wrong way. But he has the +2 attack. There's no gateway upgrades for Welmu at all. He's just now getting his +1 attack. Not even chrono boosting it that hard, so this is going to be really weird. He's now double pumping Colossi, and he's kind of going for this Colossus Void Ray composition, and it's actually really, really interesting because the Colossi helping to chew through the units on the ground that can be decent against the Void Rays, and then the Void Rays just kill anything that could kill the Colossi. So really, really interesting to see how this pans out. The Zealots moving in towards the top, preventing a building of a 4th base. But SaSe's taking the aggressive stance, which of course opens up to the harass of these Zealots just kind of running in, trying to deal lots of bits of damage. But now that Warp Prism has hit the main base, charge lots being dropped in, additional ones being warped. He wants to pull the army of Welmu out of position and then move his main force in to actually clean up the third. So really, really great multitasking. The Void Rays activate their prismatic alignment. I think it's a bit of a waste. Doesn't actually boost versus the Zealots. The main army of Welmu didn't need to get pulled back because of the positioning of these units, but now the Storm is going to come in. He's going to throw a couple of force fields. The Storm dropping on all of these units. The Time Warp to slow down the reinforcements, and the third base is going to get sniped. The Photon Overcharge is not enough, and at this point, SaSe is just going to try to retreat, but Welmu, he has a lot of supply. He could try to go for a big amount of pressure. This Photon Overcharge will be able to clean up these Zealots, but the real question here is this Void Ray count going to be enough to just push back? SaSe, another big warp in, is going to immediately bring the supply gap even, and well, he's got this third base saturated. He's moving into his own double Colossus production. So this is going to be a really, really difficult position for Welmu to pull himself out of. It's all going to come down to how effective these Void Rays can be in a fight. He has the +1 ship weapons. He now has the +1 attack, but +2 attack is coming in for Welmu. So given a little bit of time, he can pull himself back into a better position. He's now getting up his... Try to continuously scout the Phoenix. That's a really good play, but he's not going to get up his own Dark Shrine to be able to go for, you know, that bit of harass, of course, and getting cheaper Archons. They do cost less gas than High Templars, so another Zealot's going to be sent in by Welmu to try to harass, but a 4th base is on the way for SaSe, and the 3rd base is not even yet complete for Welmu, so this is just a really awkward spot. He's kind of had the supply lead due to the supply cost of Void Rays, but now he's getting supply blocked a little bit. Welmu's going to need a really, really good fight if he wants to have any chance of taking this game. Tries to run a forward proxy pylon. The Zealot actually should be able to shut this down pretty handily. He does have one on the east side of the map still for this harass that he's been sending in, but the upgrade advantage for SaSe allows him to easily deal with that. SaSe, 3 upgrades to the attack, 2 to armor, and 1 to shields. Only +1 attack for Welmu, so it's going to come down solely to these Void Rays really being game changers. And the Psionic Storm works so well versus that, especially with the stack hit on the Archons. He's actually turned all of his... He's turned all of them into Archons, so really interesting play there. He's pushing in now. The Templar dropping some storms on this army outside. He actually gets a lot of the shields on these Void Rays, but He trades basically all his High Templar for all of the shields of Welmu, which is really significant because these Void Rays, he actually really picked them clean of their shields. So they're going to regenerate, of course, but this could be the time where Welmu tries to force a fight, and he really needs to, because getting a 4th base at this point is to be so far behind economically. Another Storm drops on the Colossi. Now he's going to move in. The Void Rays are getting into position. He's going to activate the Prismatic Alignment ability, doing extra bonus damage to those armored units. Now moving in, just massive laser beams everywhere, picking off these units. But these Void Rays are dealing so much damage, annihilating absolutely everything. The Archons are not enough to stop this, and with the Colossi count for Welmu, it looks like SaSe is going to lose this fight. Welmu taking the supply lead, pushing forward. These Void Rays deal so much damage to everything. Dark Templar Warp didn't help deal with this. There's actually no detection here for Welmu, so he's going to try to target down the Colossi. Not a bad play, but he, of course, actually can't hit the Void Rays, so SaSe's going to try to warp in mass DT to shut this down. Might actually be able to pick off, gets one of the Colossi, so really, really smart snap decision-making, but Welmu's going to warp in his own Dark Templar. He should be able to shut down this 4th base. There's a cannon here to detect, but the real question is, does he even know about this 4th base? If he can shut this down so easily, but really needs to start to partition off some of his units. Now these Dark Templar chase pretty far, got another Colossus kill, so that was exactly what SaSe needed to not immediately die, but Welmu's kind of been basically, it's almost like positive reinforcement, right? He's basically been, okay, well, I know for a fact that if I get Void Rays, they're very strong versus these units. These Dark Templar are going to try to pick off this base, but there's an Observer here. He will be able to shut down the Dark Templar. He moves them off, he force fields them, but he doesn't get all of them. He's actually going to kill the 3rd base. Really great catch here for Welmu. SaSe moved his units away a little bit too quickly, and the Zealot's going to take out the Proxy Pylon for SaSe, but really great base snipe. He doesn't know about this 4th, which is now basically fully saturated as well, but if Welmu goes for a follow push, he should be good. He, of course, is going to have his own, basically both players are on 3-base mining saturation, which is what really counts here, especially since that 4th base is completing now for Welmu, so he's going to be economically ahead, actually. No rebuilding on this 3rd base just yet for SaSe, so really, really interesting setup. He's got more charge lots being warped in, but there's actually a Dark Templar here that can deal with this. Couple Dark Templar actually being warped in as well for SaSe. So both players really being aggressive, and now there's a Zealot in this mineral line. Welmu dealing damage with the Zealot. He's pulling the whole army of SaSe back. Of course, this Dark Templar able to do quite a bit of damage. Now he does have an Observer mixed in with his army, takes out the Proxy Pylon, takes out the Zealot, and he's still on 4 bases to 3. So, interesting numbers throughout the entire length of this game. 16 probes killed by Welmu. So he's been doing everything that he can to keep himself in a fighting position. Of course, you know, his back is against the ropes. If SaSe wins this, it'll be a 5-0 victory over NRS for Fnatic. So Welmu does not want to go down without a fight. And this composition is very Heart of the Swarm minded with these Void Rays. Almost want to see possibly some kind of other further play, like maybe Tempest to deal with opposing Colossi, but it's not really necessary at this point. The Void Ray Colossus composition is so strong, and just getting a bunch of units under them to tank. Of course, the Archons in Wings of Liberty were designed purely to tank, but in Heart of the Swarm, they can actually deal their splash damage to the stacked air units, can be quite effective, so this is going to be interesting to see how the next final battle turns out. The supply lead still, of course, favoring Welmu. He's going to try to go off and possibly snipe a base with these Void Rays. Should be interesting. Zealot going in, trying to distract. He's actually throwing down his Proxy Pylon. It looks like Welmu's getting ready to move out. He's almost maxed. These Void Rays activate their Prismatic Alignment. He's just going to try to run in here and begin to immediately snipe off this Nexus. It's under heavy fire, taking tons of damage. The Stalker's going to blink up and shut this down. He actually can't afford to lose these Void Rays. He needs to pull them back. Prismatic Alignment does begin to wear off. He's lost 2 of these Void Rays in this fight, but he's given up the positioning battle, and now Welmu is in a great spot. He's got additional Void Rays coming out to aid for this fight, and it looks like this is going to be it. He's going to send off a couple units to harass this mining base on the right side. While he moves in, and there he goes, he's going to pull the whole army forward. He's going to move in again. These Void Rays dealing damage. They don't have the Prismatic Alignment, so they can't kill these Stalkers terribly effectively. He will be able to pick it off, though, and the whole army gets pulled over here. Welmu, is he going to take advantage of this positioning? That's the real question. These Void Rays now are going to be able to go full Ravage mode on this mineral line. He could actually activate Prismatic Alignment and focus down, and there we see it destroying that Stalker, and this Nexus is going to die. And Welmu kind of realizing, okay, you know what, I lost a lot of these Void Rays. I didn't get as much as I was hoping out of them. He actually needs to make sure that he kills this Nexus. He needs to target fire with the Void Rays. A couple of probes are not worth it. Getting this Nexus is so much more valuable. And another big Zealot Warping heading to the right side. So as SaSe tries to bring his army over, Welmu's already at the next place. Going to immediately bring these Void Rays out now. So a great pickup for our blue Protoss player. And more probes being sent in here, but Welmu's Zealot's dealing tons of damage. He now has the +3 attack. Of course, the +3 armor is available for SaSe, but the army composition has just been favoring Welmu so much. These Void Rays continuing to harass, and now there's still more Void Rays mixing with the main army. Archon, Colossi, Void Ray. He's got so many, 8 Colossi here with his main army, 3 Void Rays with prismatic alignment, so powerful. And the Zealot Stalker part of SaSe's army, it's meaty, sure, but it's not quite what he needs to deal with this much tech. And here we go. It looks like there's going to be an engagement in the center of the field. The Archon stepping forward, going to immediately get vaporized. The Observers, of course, trying to spot everything. Storm's dropping on the Colossi, but Colossi have so much health. Storm really isn't the most effective way to deal with them. The Void Rays have immediately been cleaned up, though. And, well, he's still pressing forward inside of this 4th base, harassing as well as harassing the main base. So with the Colossi count intact, he doesn't have anything to tank for this, but there's really not too much left for SaSe to actually push in. So a couple of warp-ins, a couple more Void Rays to come out. Should be able to handle this quite well. Now the Colossi getting in here, immediately begin to do work on these additional units. The Stalkers try to run up here, but there's so much area of effect damage. Even with the Storm, a big Zealot warp in, though. He's actually got these Colossi cornered, so SaSe could get himself in a nice position for taking this out, but a lot of probes have died here. These Dark Templar basically completely cleaned up this base. Even with these dead Colossi, the Void Rays that come out now with that prismatic alignment ability completely shut down SaSe's forces, and it looks like Welmu may be able to take the first game for NRS in this Team League series. Really, really great play from Welmu. Now up 50 supply. He has that 4 bases. He's trying to get a 5th base. Will be shut down on that part, but he's killed the natural. He's killed basically everything that SaSe has, and SaSe doesn't want to give up just yet. He's moving his Archon and his High Templar, trying to be the real hero of this game. He had the upgrade advantage, but the army composition just favored Welmu so much. The Void Ray continued to poke away, and SaSe, he's going to run everything else in. He's going to try to go in towards this 4th and deal as much damage as he can. There's a Photon Cannon here, though. Welmu can warp in units if he so chooses. His unit of choice will be the Zealot. And Welmu's already got the rest of his army here to defend, so SaSe has a long way to go if he wants to bring this game back. His opponent is now almost 100 supply above him. He's still losing his pylons. He's actually going to lose his Templar Archives to this Void Ray, so he may just try to take one more fight and try to just swing things, but it won't be easy. The High Templar just really didn't seem to favor too well versus the Colossi. The Void Rage has been so strong, and now Welmu, he's got the rest of his force prepared. He's up 100 supply. SaSe trying to poke in now, and this could be it, guys. Charge Lot stepping backwards. SaSe really being cautious about taking this fight. He's warping in as many Zealots as he can, but the 2 Colossi just deal so much air effect damage. The Zealot lead is favoring Welmu, and his Void Ray still picking units off on the left side. Storm does drop, gets a good amount of clip damage on the Zealots and the Colossi, but he's forcing him back now. Archon's going to be morphed in. It looks like SaSe may just try to go for it now. He's bringing everything forward. Welmu steps back, but he's not really worried about it. He has the Dark Templar, of course, blocking all the bases. He's patrolling around. You might want to start checking the map for proxy bases. There aren't any, but of course, better safe than sorry. And now he's going to move in towards that natural expansion, and this is it. He's fully committed. Welmu has him completely trapped. Now he can move in if he wants to. Storm drops, getting all of these Zealots. Really great storms from SaSe, but is it going to be enough? He doesn't actually have any more storms available. Archon's immediately getting picked off now. He's going to step in here. There are 2 observers to spot. Actually, yeah, 2 observers for SaSe, so he sees the Dark Templar. The Zealot Orphan from the side, not going to be enough, and there's a GG from SaSe. Wow, game number 5 going to Welmu. Oh my goodness, that was a really, really great PvP to watch. If you guys hated PvP in Wings of Liberty, now you know why PvP is so much better in Heart of the Swarm. That was a absolutely crazy game, but the army composition tells the story. In the first fight outside the natural expansion between the 3rd of SaSe's, once those Void Rays got in, that prismatic alignment, they are so strong, just obliterated everything, especially with the Colossi lead. So SaSe had much more meat in his army composition. He had more Archons. He had the Templar for the Storm, but the Storm is really good against those meaty units like the Zealots and the Stalkers. And since Welmu didn't really favor those, he just took a bunch of really great engagements and pretty decisively won all of the main fights. So great play there. We'll have to see who Fnatic decides to send out for game number 6. Don't go anywhere, guys. I'm Quantic Nate here casting for you guys today. So yeah, stay tuned.